Hello everyone and welcome to another Starcraft 2 live cast. For this one we are playing live but commentating after the fact. So it looks like we have a TvZ here on Blackpink. So we'll be going for our fast expand build with the engineering bay block. Mercenary. So sending out a worker right away. And then depot on at 100. I used to delay gas a little bit, but nowadays I think taking gas as soon as possible is the best way to go. It means you have enough gas immediately for a planetary and a factory as soon as your barracks finishes.
Additional supply depots required. Not enough minerals.
Don't think he could have gotten that hash down in time. Seems like he pulled that drone a little early. Not really getting any good bounces here, and 5 hit points to not get away. That kind of sucks.
Big job.
I did not get an eye on where the drone went. If you can, it's good to watch the mini-map. See if he's going back to his main base to mine, or going out to take an alternate hatchery.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
With the command center down, we'll be going barracks and engineering bay to finish off the wall.
Not
Making
enough
sure to place the
minerals.
barracks in a way that leaves a 3 gap for the engineering bay.
Bad news.
Base is under attack.
Looks like the Zerglings are starting to work on the engineering bay, but the timing's alright. Even if he's crossing the map now with other Zerglings, it should be fine. Don't believe I got the cancel.
Go ahead.
Maybe I did. 300 minutes. I wasn't really paying attention. Taking the second gas before the barracks finishes. And you do that if you're going to go straight to a Banshee. And I think on this
Additional
map,
supply depots required.
it's probably a good idea to get a
Additional
Banshee
supply
out.
depots
The
required.
siege tank doesn't quite work at taking a third, and obviously doesn't work at taking a fourth. But if you get out a fast Banshee, you can possibly take a third and a fourth quickly.
Base is under attack.
However, with that said, I still want siege tanks at some point.
Command center upgrade complete.
Will do.
Because I think that's important now against Zerg to get some siege tanks out in the field. The new Raven just, the Altair doesn't cut it, and the Seeker Missile isn't that great early on. Although it's devastating later, just like the old school Seeker Missile. Getting that one key missile turret, kind of thinking of like where's the best place for
Not
him
enough
to
minerals. Not
Overlord
enough
drop me,
minerals.
and that's where I'm going to put the missile turret.
Jordan.
Add-on complete.
SCV
It's
ready.
getting a third. And this is where I'm not sure if I should be using my factory, building a siege tank as well, or letting it stay idle and get the fourth command center fast. Because I feel like the one Banshee should be enough to set up 4 bases.
SCV ready. Ah! You scared me. SCV ready. SCV ready.
So swapping that starport on,
Ready.
and that Banshee should be out more or less in time to set my third.
Huh? Yep.
And throwing down the 4th base.
SCV ready.
He will scout all 4 command centers. And
Let's go.
kind of at the perfect timing. So that gives him
SCV ready.
the maximum amount of time to respond economically himself, or to say, maybe I can just kill this guy because he went 4 command centers.
SCV ready. Big job. SCV ready.
You don't have to repair planetary damage early on. There's no real threat to your planetary, but once you reach about this point in the game, kind of when like a Roach Ravager attack can come or a serious amount of Bailings, it's good to get that back up to full health.
Not enough minerals. Not enough
SCV
minerals.
ready. SCV
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Add-on. Not enough minerals.
Just realized I clicked the wrong upgrade there.
SCV ready.
Please don't tell me I don't go this entire game without Corvid Reactor.
SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
What the heck upgrade did I even get? I don't even know.
SCV ready.
Speed Banshees or something? No, that requires this. Does it require a fusion core? Maybe it doesn't anymore. I think I'm getting Speed Banshees. Or maybe I'm getting Medevac
Ready to blunder.
Afterburner. I don't know what I upgraded.
Been waiting on it. SCV ready. Certainly. SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
Huh? Yep.
So we do see he has an Overseer, which means
Upgrade complete.
he's had layer done for at least the amount of time it takes to build an Overseer.
SCV ready. Need something blown up. SCV ready. SCV ready.
Raven online.
Not enough minerals. Not enough
SCV ready.
It's a pretty passive game so far. I guess he went the option of going economic himself.
Not enough.
Or maybe he's just playing
Not enough.
completely standard and didn't react to my 4 command
Not
centers at
enough
all.
Minerals.
Which isn't that uncommon
Ready.
for players not to deviate their build based on what they
Not
scout.
enough minerals.
It's obviously a mistake, but it happens.
In the rear with the. What's going on? SCV ready. SCV ready. Ah! Who wants some? SCV ready.
Loud and clear. I got this.
Not enough energy.
Fueled up, ready to go.
Raven online.
No
Raven
problem.
online.
It's kind of setting up a
Raven online. Awaiting orders.
You ready for war?
control path for my 1 Banshee. Just kind of have it check on the watchtowers and check on my bases.
All right.
Clear out any Zerglings.
Base.
In the rear with the gear.
That's a little scary. Because that looked like he was purposely throwing away Zerglings, which makes me think he's already maxed, and I'm at 100 supply.
Complete.
Ah! You scared me. Can't hold him alone.
Only kind of spending my money now.
Additional supply depots required.
I got my ears on.
Don't just auto repair your SCVs when you face mules like that. You actually have to keep spam clicking the missile turret.
Butter my biscuit.
Because of the way the glaives bounce around and injure everything, if your SCVs an auto repair, they'll just end up repairing each other and let the missile turret die.
Yeah, what?
Engineering at your disposal.
So that was actually very good, because he made that huge investment into Mutalisk and got absolutely nothing done with it. You still have the opportunity to go somewhere else and get damage done, but he doesn't know how vulnerable I am to mutas right now.
Big job, huh?
Yeah, those ravens appear to have less than 75 energy, so I'm pretty sure we decided to upgrade Medevac Afterburners and
Ready to raise some hell.
Add-on complete.
Yeah.
let these ravens run without the most important upgrade.
What's going on?
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field depleted.
Raven.
I feel like You should be getting a lot more planetaries with this Mass Raven thing now. Seeker Missile is great how it like is a guaranteed hit, but it's such a huge expense on your energy reserves of Ravens that you kind of like one and done.
Mineral field depleted.
And for that reason,
Vessel will comply.
Unacceptable land zone.
Ready to raise some hell.
Research complete.
oof, sorry. Okay. Those SCVs had nowhere to flee. They're all walled in. What was I saying? Yeah, since the Ravens are kind of one and done when it comes to energy, do a bunch of damage and then have nothing left in them, you kind of want the ability to defend with dried out Ravens. And
Unacceptable landing zone.
At your disposal. Order economic. Ready.
you can do that through the use of static defense.
Not enough energy.
I guess he didn't want to use the mutas anymore, but
Is under
that's a lot of mutas to just throw away. I feel like he should have been a little bit smarter with them. He's going to trade them out.
mineral field.
But like I said, with Ravens kind of being one and done, my Ravens are completely dry on energy at the moment. And I'm a little bit worried that he's going to start peeing on my structures. I have no missile turrets and dried out Ravens. However, I think my Hellions have distracted him pretty well. You can see on the minimap they're doing work in the 4 o'clock position. Killing a queen and a lot of drones. I never understand why when you play Protoss they pull workers, when you play Zerg they pull workers. Or sorry, when you play Terran they pull workers, but against Zerg, whenever you attack a mineral line, they just let the mineral line die. Unless it's the Liberator. That's the only thing they seem to like always pull away from.
Mineral field depleted. Command center upgrade.
It's probably just my mind thinking that. It's probably not true, but it just seems to always be Zerg the ones who let me kill everything.
Raven online.
A lot of indecisiveness where to throw it down that sensor tower. The more forward you have it, the more you get to see on the map, but the more exposed it is to
Not
just
enough energy.
dying immediately to a frontal attack.
Go ahead. You're the boss. SCV ready.
Raven online.
SCV ready. I'm going.
Mineral field.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
So things are going quite well at the moment. Spending through our money, approaching max, got a good Raven force, got good bases, got good well, decent sensor tower coverage.
Go ahead.
Additional supply depots required.
What's that? Yeah, what's going on? You're the boss. Well, butter my biscuit.
Need some more missile turrets spread out a little bit. So I guess now I'm thinking about parasitic bomb
Additional supply depots required.
because of the new expense of Raven energy that's required. You kind of have to max out on Ravens.
Additional
I used to be fine having like, 15, 20 Ravens used to be enough, but now it's just like the more you can get the better. 40, 50 Ravens if you can do it. Which just means they're going to be that much more vulnerable to splash damage like parasitic.
maximum supply. Upgrade complete.
That's alright. Trading Bailings for Hellbats.
Our SCV
It's like a big attack approaching the space.
command.
Trying to pop the Bailings outside of range. Just too many though. Looks like I got my Ravens flanking. Let's see if I can get something done there. There's fungal growth I gotta worry about.
Scanning battlefield.
I think I got almost all the Corruptors though, so probably a good time to go after these Broodlords. It's really perfect timing on that hit. He'd just given a movement command to the Corruptors, and as they're all gathering on the point of where he gave the movement command to is when all the seeker missiles hit.
SCV ready.
Raven online.
Yeah, whatever. Yes,
Mineral
sir.
field depleted.
Raven online.
I can't build.
Base is under attack.
Order acknowledged. Order accepted. Command authority.
Let's set something on fire. Here we go. Big job, huh?
Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply.
Ready to raise.
Just sending my Hellenes out every time I can
Unacceptable
because I'm maxing out a lot.
supply.
My worker count might be a little bit high, but I did lose quite a few workers in the last attack, so it might be at a not too bad level. I'm guessing it's around 75 right now.
Vespine geyser exhausted.
Got any extra firepower?
Awaiting
Our SCVs are under attack.
Wrecked.
command right away.
What's going on? I can't build here. Yeah.
Ready for service. Immediately.
Believe that creep tumor gives vision to my command center, so he knows that forward CC is there.
In the rear with the gear. Yep. It's heating up out here. Getting fired up here, boss.
Don't want to be shooting a broodling, so if you can micro,
Command center
just gonna take out the hatchery and get out of here. Hide in the corner. If he wants me to chase me all the way down with the broodlords, at least he'll take him out quite a far out position.
Big job, huh? You're the boss.
mineral field depleted.
Talk to me. Can't wait. Hell yeah. In the rear with the gear.
Mineral field depleted.
Go ahead. Here we go. Hot footing out there. Ready to raise some hell.
That was Ultralisk, I believe I saw.
Got any extra
So,
firepower?
one thing I thought of after this game was
Smoke.
I kind of forgot how I dealt with Ultralisk. The answer was Liberators. You have to put like at least one Liberator at each planetary, and I did a good job versus these Ultras.
In motion.
Maybe using that choke point.
Word.
Oh,
Done
oh,
and done.
oh! Still alive.
Can't wait. Hot footing out there.
Not sure whose time is being wasted, mine or his, but
Done and done.
Awaiting orders.
Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply. Mineral field depleted.
It's your turn. Talk to me,
Our
boss.
SCVs mineral field under attack. Vespine attack.
It's heating up out here.
Right away.
Mineral field
Right away.
Daylight burning. Smoking.
Engineering at your disposal.
Talk to me.
mineral field depleted.
Commencing.
What's going? In the rear with the gear.
Mineral field depleted.
but the auto turret does decently versus Ultralisk anyways.
Got any extra firepower?
Immediately underway.
Again, you're a little more exposed throwing down auto turrets, but it's not like Ultralisk can abuse that. He would have to have something else, like Parasitic Bomb or Fungal Growth. I'm going to try to get that forward command center again. Kind of a nice position for it. Actually, with my bank, I should be throwing down like 12 more command centers.
Field depleted.
Build some at home, and then try to put some like right out on the field too. The more planetaries, the better.
Base is under attack.
Anytime you see your bank go above like 4,000 or 5,000 too, you can just queue up your factories to completely max. There's the gas geyser, it's empty.
Mineral field depleted.
Ready to raise some hell.
Base is under attack. Our SCVs are under attack. Base is under attack. Our SCVs are under attack.
The splash of Broodlords with the Ultras is a little annoying. Just gives them just enough Broodlings to start tanking all the incoming damage.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Command. Order acknowledged.
Raise some hell. Absolutely.
Command center upgrade complete.
Oh, some Festers there, which I've been smart enough to focus them down there.
Depleted.
Killing this though, he will leave himself open. Kind of got me though. However, we got all of his infestors, so we don't have to worry about any chain fungals. One infestor left. He's focused it down there with the auto turrets. A lot of low Ultralisks, but I'm more or less out of energy.
Mineral field depleted.
Raven online.
We did, however, can take out in their base again.
Talk to me. Hell yeah. Here we go. I hear you. Can't wait. Done and done.
And that creep spread.
Command.
So we're not in a lot of mining bases. I mean, I can't imagine he is either. He has the two 12 o'clock bases. Those are probably in a good spot for him, but everything else should be close to dried out, I would think. Maybe the 3 o'clock base still has some. Whatever he took as his 4th or 5th are probably okay.
Are you ready for this? All day long. Talk to me, boss. SCV ready.
Base is under attack.
Saw his army coming in the south, so I decided to send all my Hellbats to the north. And see what we can do with our Ravens here. That was an absolute ton of Balings he used. I feel like he...
Command center
Like, I always say this, but Balings... Training Balings for bases is good when you're ahead. And if you're not ahead, it might just lose you the game. Looks like he's just A, moving everything to the north to respond to the Hellbats, so I figure that's a good time to jump on the Broodlords.
Order accepted. Underway.
Big job, huh? Let's set something on it. Talk to me. In motion. Done. I hear you, huh? It's heating up out here. Word. Hell yeah.
That was a lot of Hellbats I sent to that base, and just based on the mini-map, came up to it quite quickly.
We hear you.
At least they're better than Hellions versus Ultralisks, because they actually do damage.
Got any extra?
They have a high damage per hit, which means they can actually cut that Ultralisk armor. But man, they're still really bad against Ultras.
Sweet.
Hellions, however, do like 6 damage per hit, which equates to basically 0 versus Ultralisks.
Go ahead.
So Ultras, even though they got buffed heavily, at least there's a mineral answer to them now. Because Marines and Hellions definitely weren't it. Or not an answer, but at least a mineral sink that can do something to Ultralisks. You gotta be kidding me, there's a path through that? He was able to walk his way out. I think only one survived, maybe two.
Register.
Light it up. Smoking. Let's do this.
Again, just sending Hellbats like clockwise and counterclockwise around the map whenever I can. I do have that 12,000 gay mineral bank and a good gas bank.
Ready to raise some hell.
It does get to the point though where you do have to keep an eye on that. Sometimes you can hide yourself out of minerals. I don't think this is going to be one of those games though.
Got any extra firepower?
We did take out his 11 o'clock base, which is nice.
Rear with the gear. Ready to raise some hell.
And I can see that he hasn't taken back the 4 o'clock base. So that means he's on his original 5 bases. And only one of those has got to be mining. So I think we're actually in a little bit better shape economically, even though we only have a... Well, actually our economy is just as trash, just as badly. However, we've lost a lot less. So we have a big bank.
Pedal to the metal.
And I doubt he does.
Hot foot's out there.
Probably should have tried to take out that hatchery. I don't think it would have worked, but there's nowhere to hide from altars on this base.
Some hell.
Unlike that other one, there's no ultraless dance.
Order acknowledged.
Mineral field depleted. Vespene geyser exhausted.
Ready to raise some hell. In the rear with the gear. It's heating up out here.
Green's transfusing. Those ultras won't ever die to these hellbats, but
Daylight's burning.
ultras count looks like it was at 2,
Vespene geyser
and that
exhausted.
is not a lot.
Mineral field depleted.
So I'm guessing he has a lot of money problems right now.
Mineral field depleted.
Bad news. In the rear with the gear.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Systems primed.
Ready to raise. Got any extra firepower?
I think I threw away workers at one point this game, now I'm making them again. Always hate when that happens.
Got any extra firepower? SCV ready.
Command
Ready to raise some hell.
System.
It's heating up out here.
mineral field depleted.
In the rear with the gear.
That looks like it's about it. I see a GG.
Vespene geyser exhausted.
Light it up.
We can still keep these Hellions going for a while with a 9k mineral bank, and we're still taking new bases.
I'm in
Something coming at my Ravens. Oh, finally Parasitic Bomb. Or not. Yeah, so that is
Replay
more or
saved.
less a game won by cost efficiency. Because I feel like our economies were more or less even the entire game. Like, scarily so. And that every time he would lose a base, I would lose a base. And I feel like our income is almost always solid. But if you lose like 30k less resources, having the same income still puts you at a major advantage. Definitely more command centers. Definitely should mix in some liberators when I know against ultras. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with how the game went. I'm still not even considering Interference Matrix. It is an expensive spell. I mean, it's 50, but it adds up. Considering it doesn't do any damage, it's a cost you have to consider on your Ravens. But I mean, Ultralists are a big chunky target. You throw a couple interference matrix on them, and then all of a sudden you have this giant bookmark in the way of the rest of his army. Bookmark. Bookend. Whatever analogy I'm trying to use. I should do some thought on that spell and maybe do some tests and see if I can find situations where it makes sense. Sometimes, okay, what am I doing here? Yeah, okay. So this is where he attacked him with a whole bunch of Bailings when I feel like we were pretty even. And I'm not sure if that was right, because he was at like 44,000 units lost. And even though my army hasn't arrived yet, he's already lost 4,000 resources just from planetaries and losing Bailings. And then we actually get to engage his army a bit here. And where we eat a couple fungals, it seemed like a good trade there. Yeah, so he lost more than 10,000 on that attack. And I'm sure he'll lose some more here. Just start going into stuff. Yeah, Hellbat's only so good versus Ultras. To get one. Yeah, so he's down 12,500. Will we get the hatchery? Oh, he's not even shooting at the hatchery and it goes down. The splash damage. And I think this is where he loses the end of this army, right? This is where he's able to sneak out with some Ultras magically. One Ultra. Yeah, so when all is said and done, he took out 2 bases and lost almost 20,000 resources. And lost a couple of hatcheries of his own. No, 1 hatchery of his own. No, 2. Never mind. Done that one now. And I think, yeah, if you look at the resources now, he's just too low. He can't rebuild. And I can put on constant pressure with Hellbats and still have that Raven Cloud. Queens gave good efficiency there, but yeah. That's it. That was a good game. Yeah, as you can see the units tab now, he's just got a couple of everything. This game is completely over. Yeah, more planetaries. I need to respond to Ultras in some method. Big Liberators. I think more planetaries is the big one. If I can get PFs and missile turrets out on this map, then I can be a little bit more aggressively stanced with my Ravens, which allow me to respond to his attacks and find attacks of my own. Looks like he had 2 parasitic bombs at the end. I hadn't seen any Vipers, and I had no missile turrets there, so probably could have caught me off guard. But 2 parasitic bombs probably wouldn't kill anything. Do a ton of damage, but I probably wouldn't lose. I'd probably only lose the weak Ravens. Parasitic bomb no longer stacks either, so you can't like cast 5 of them on top of each other and expect to get 5 times the damage. So it's good to like stagger the parasitic bombs, put in like 2 or 3 at a time, and then come back 10 seconds later and try it again. Which I think is a good idea, because the whole premise of, you know, like 8 supply of, or 9 supply of Vipers being able to like wipe out an entire maxed out Sky army seemed kind of ridiculous. Even though it only works versus air, nothing should be that hard of a hard counter. Anyways, I've run out of video, so I guess I'll call it the end of this video for you guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'm out of here. Goodbye.